Okay. I just realized I might have difficulties to share my screen.
Let's see here. I should be able to.
I don't think
I'm gonna make you a co-host,
okay.
and what that will do is allow you to share your screen.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see that.
So when you roll over the bottom, you'll see a green button that says Share Screen now, and then it'll ask you to. It'll bring up a window, and you select which screen you want to share.
It doesn't. It said one participant can share at time, and that has a check mark, and the other multiple has.
Let's see. Well, I have it set at multiple participants can share, so you should be able to turn it on.
Nice. Okay, now it works. Okay. Wonderful. So just gonna.
Can you start by telling me what it is that what your outcome is that you're looking for, like what it is that you're hoping to gain from a critique today? That will help orient me a little bit.
Yes, I would love to have some. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. Let's just put this off. So I would love to have some feedback about my work. I'm looking for like places where you think my work could fit.
Okay.
I just, since I did my education pretty much in Hungary, I feel disconnect. I don't have a time to go to the residencies, so I don't have a time and option to one-on-one meet curators. I'm kind of busy with teaching, so that also doesn't allow me to be more flexible. So I'm looking for like a breakthrough with my work. I feel like I did quite a lot since May, and I just looking for a place to put on, or I don't know.
So ideally you would like to show your work that you've been producing.
Yeah, or just.
Or find an avenue just to kind of push it forward to see where it's going to take you to.
Yeah,
okay.
Again, like mainly like recommendation for people to get connected with, maybe recommendation places to apply. Maybe I really would love to have in the future a gallery representation, because it's just not happening. I don't know. I got a weird flow with my work. I feel like my CV is strong about shows, like group shows and that kind of thing, like international shows and biennials. And collection wise, I got like a nice amount of information when I can put it under the section of collection. But it's more like university libraries and some private collection, but not too much. So yeah, I feel like those people who has an option to finish school in a major school and bigger, like in Chicago or New York, they're coming with a set of connection out there.
From being in the school itself, or
yeah, like they have an option to expose their work for in front of like curators or galleries or museums. And I feel like if I try to jump into this game, like sending an email to someone out of the blue, they're not gonna read it. They're not gonna. I tried. Nobody responded back. It makes sense. Probably I wouldn't respond back anyway. So it's just I feel like there is a missing link.
Okay. Yeah, there's an issue with volume. A lot of people don't respond because they just receive such a volume from different artists. So it is really sort of a game of getting some sort of like face-to-face or some sort of recognition, and the connection being made through other people is super important, especially with all these galleries closing and things like that too. So I'm curious to see your work, and then I can formulate a little bit more after I see what you're doing too. So
Okay, yeah, I my works are heavily printmaking based, but it's not the traditional way. You know, I moved away from traditional materials or traditional content. I do a lot of like site specific installations. I do quite a lot of time-based work. And yeah, it's funny because I just realized not long ago, since I don't have like an official studio space. I'm not. I'm working from home. I'm mainly working from my kitchen. You know, I'm actually working from my kitchen. I'm printing on my kitchen table. I'm using my refrigerator to freeze my eyes. I have a camera in the balcony. You know, I'm just making these weird circles, and most of the materials are environment based, you know, like I'm printing on eggshells because I'm cracking eggs when I'm making food and stuff like that. Or printing energy is also like a kitchen related item. So but what I like to do is kind of connecting the materials with the message of my work.
Right.
I just, for some reason, I find like two-dimensional prints on the gallery wall is a little boring. I feel like it's just, I would like to do more than that. I'm interested in more than that. I mean, I'm admiring them and it's amazing, but it's just, I feel like my work is going in a different direction than that.
Sure. And what's motivating it, in terms of, like you say, like you don't want to display your stuff in that traditional sort of framework that we're used to, you know, framed prints on the wall or something like that. And so what are the ways that you imagine displaying the work? Is it performance based? Is it?
Well, you know, since I was able to start to work on ice, so I would love to have like a huge ice melting print installation. Like I had a chance to do a smaller version in IPC New York, International Print Center New York, 2018, where I was printing like edition of 15 prints on ice. And there was a refrigerator on the top floor, and we had like a huge cooler, and we put the prints literally into a cooler. And there were two interns who went back and forth between the top floor and bring more ice, because it's very sensitive for, you know, like just for that little temperature change. So we had a pedestal in the middle, and I put my eyes there, and there was a video showing the video about it, and there was like a print on top of it. So it was like a video, a print, and the eyes. Okay. And as soon as the eyes melted, we put another one next to it. And then when it started to melt, we put another one. So, and it turned into like a bigger happening. You know, some pieces melted faster than the others. I was able to show a different stage of printing, and that's something that I was proposing in a conference. There's like an international conference in Hong Kong, and they accepted my proposal. So I was going to make this bigger version of it, and of course, COVID canceled the whole thing, or postponed the whole thing. But it's just, yeah, I'm applying for grants. I just got like a denied letter 5 minutes ago. It happened.
That's part of it.
Like, yeah, I know. I was hoping, because it's a local one, I was hoping I have a better chance. I was proposed to buy a small refrigerator because I want to have a small refrigerator. Whatever. It's just, you know, I would like to make like a bigger stuff like that. You know,
Okay.
I would like
And
to
the way you're describing that there is a video and there's a print, so I imagine that the print is what's for sale.
yeah,
Okay.
and I was able to, like, that print was sold, like a collector from New York bought the print, and that's, hold on just a sec.
Sure.
This was actually quite a good art. And after that show, you know, the Art and Print magazine featured the piece in the front. These are like screenshots from the video piece.
Okay, okay.
And this is like a very traditional printmaking magazine, and
Right.
Putting like a video, I thought it, like, I was like really happy. It was like,
yeah, it's quite a compliment. It's a big
is.
compliment because it is outside of their framework of what they normally do.
Right. It was a huge compliment because they have this awards. They had this huge awards for every second month, and I was able to get that, and I didn't know anything about the front coverage. They didn't tell me anything.
Right.
I was just looking for the magazine to buy because of this, and
nice surprise.
Yeah, it was amazing.
When was that published?
2018 March. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, and a lot of things started to happen. It was 2008 was like really busy, and then 2019 was in a very good track, and then COVID hits, and boom, everything shut down. I was planning to do another installation in Miami. We had a place in April, and that was shut down too.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of the history of everything right now, as we know. So show me some of your work that you want me to see to give a sense of direction.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was planning to pull up my website and show the body of work what I just recently did, and then I don't know, I tried to kind of separate it for, you know, like time-based ice prints, and there was like a direction when I was starting to work with text. It's more like a poetry. There's a lot of work. We can just like run through this, and if you want me to stop, I can stop one of them. But yeah, which one should I start?
Well, I've seen the art and print one. I looked through that when I was looking at your application. So if you want to show me like some of the recent stuff that you're doing, or something that is sort of what's the word, symbolic of the theme of like where your work is going, because sometimes our past work is great, you know, in terms of like showing the development and things, but if there's something that you really would like to see pushing forward, let's go with that ideal.
Okay, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna share this. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the Waiting series. That's the newest one. When I did pretty much everything here in May, April, May. So it started with this piece. It's a melting ice piece, waiting in 35. This is a statement. I guess we can skip that. I'm gonna make it bigger. So yeah, so I did that print word waiting, and I let it melt, and I was taking images about 35 stages of melting, and I printed that. And
what is on the left hand wall over here? Is that yours too, or?
Yeah, it's mine. It's gonna come up.
Okay.
It's a part of the other. And so that is a close up, and the word "let it go" on ice, and that's part of what you were asking on the left side. So that's another installation. So I call this distance, and I ask people to send me images about their hand to kind of like a reaching out position. Started with my family from Hungary because we cannot meet, so I really wanted to get connected with them, and I printed on stacked edge of stacked papers, and each piece is loose here.
Okay, so it's not an accordion fold. It looked like an accordion at first.
Just, I have one of those too. So this one is just a lot of loose paper. So you can see.
Yes, yeah.
Falling apart. But this one here, I bind it as a book. So it's a huge, but it's very heavy, but it's very flexible. So I'm able to kind of, install that. So I wanted to have like a lot of hands kind of over there.
And with this particular piece, give me an idea. How much would something like that sell for? Like, what are you asking for?
I don't know. I was not even thinking about selling it.
Okay.
I don't know. I know I had smaller pieces, and they sold for 400, 500. Let me grab one. I don't even know how to price these, but this is like a little accordion, so it's very flexible. So I don't even know how much. It's a lot of work. I individually glue each piece together.
Ah, wow.
Yeah. So I glue them together. I sand the surface. I print the surface, and then I got this.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of work, but I could, obviously, of course, I can stop. So, and this one is the same. So it's the same installation, but this two pieces on the floor, some other pieces. These are the bigger one we could hang from the wall, but I'm still kind of working on it. I can add more to this. And this one is a pedestal and a piece.
I know this isn't the topic of this, but it also makes me think of social distancing.
It is. It's a COVID. It's the same thing. I did that. I did that during that time. Yeah. And this one is like two hands kind of together. And this one is a new. I screen printed the word waiting on traditional litho stone, and experiencing how it's drying up.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's 1-on-1. I didn't make it faster or whatever. It dries up that fast.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to do something with this amazing stone. It's a very special limestone, and they only harvest in like a couple places, and then I don't think they harvest that anymore. So for me, it's very special, and it's such a sensitive surface. Like as soon as I'm done printing on it, it will pretty much dry up.
Right.
And this one is another. Can you see this part too?
Yes.
So it's based on one of Vonnegut's book, The Breakfast of the Champions. I always loved that book, and it gave me an idea when they're talking about the footprints as being one of the first prints of the humankind. And I was like, yeah, that's so amazing. So I can turn myself into a printing machine, and I can print like every footstep. What I'm making is a statement about like, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And then, benne van az e-mailbe, húzd fel.
De nem tudom, mert nem hiszem, a komputeren meghaltuk.
200, Milán, 201, vagy valami ilyesmi, itt van. várjál, 120, building egy, room 100, I'm sorry, my son's, sorry, okay. Can you still see? Can you still see? Well, where are you?
I know, I just lost you too. I'm like, where did you go? There you are. Okay.
Here. So yeah, I was stepping in a fresh print, which I printed with like a charcoal powder, and I was stepping on it, and I was stepping on the white floor, and every time when I make a step, I print the word waiting, and
okay, I see. Okay.
And I'm walking in a circle, and every time when I make a step, I do like a step of waiting. So walking in circles means in Hungarian it's just like just waiting for something and you can't do anything about it. You know, you're just walking in circles and spending the time. Yeah. So I had one version about when I was, you know, putting down like piece of papers in a circle shape, and I was stepping on them, and I could, you know, show the paper individually too. It's interesting because it shows, you know, the structure of the skin too.
Right.
So, yeah, and that's a first of the installation. This one is what day is it? It's a ritual handwrite. So yeah, I was thinking about maybe making a print from like each day of the week, like a soap with Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and every time I just wash my hands with it, or maybe doing with another day or stuff like that. One day or someday, or yeah, and yeah, that's it. I'm just washing my hand with this printed soap, and I wash the thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the same with like with a face on it. And this one is when I again I was being homesick because I knew I don't have a chance to go home this summer. So I was thinking, what can I do? And I had my family member's portrait, and I was screen printing them with ash on the beach. It's a sand on the nearest beach. The sand is beautiful and white, so it shows up like a nice surface. And I was like,
good contrast.
Yeah, I like this one. And this is a studio view, how I was printing on the beach. And my helper, my daughter, so you can see I'm actually, you know, printing here. And then, yeah, I have another piece about that. I don't know why it's a disorder, but yeah, this one also is a video work. I printed the word "let it go," and I use a hairdryer and make it go.
Okay.
Baking soda on white paper. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like an overlapping of visual poetry and, you know, prints.
I've seen it, and I think the one observation that I would make, because I remember the first impression that I had of your website, and then now like hearing you describe things and then seeing things, there is a little bit of a disconnect in the story that isn't being told by the website. Like the website does a really good job of documenting in terms of showing things like, you know, like a visual slideshow, but it's not really telling the story in the same way. Like it doesn't have I don't know if it's the personal aspect of it, but like for instance, I'm on the waiting series COVID-19, and I think it's like the orientation of things is a little
confusing.
a little confusing. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm looking at, okay, print sand on ashes. It's you're the universe where we are living in constant moving, changing from time. It feels like you need a statement at the beginning. From the moment that I go to your webpage, I need something, a statement that attaches me to the concept of time-based, ephemeral, something, a thematic, like almost like a thesis statement to orient the viewer to it. It could be, you know, like a one-line sentence below your name in the upper banner part. The visuals are very, very appealing, but I think the main issue is the storytelling. Like some of it is it's so poetic in orientation, which I think is really good. But it's like you kind of need some way to enter into this at the beginning that gives me an orientation to all the things that I'm going to see. It becomes clear if I examine it, but the thing that you have to remember is if I'm a gallery person, I'm looking at a lot of work. So the visual will be compelling to me, but if I don't get a sense of the time erasing in front of me from the moment that I look at your front page, so like the video of that ice melting and the words as your entry, like sort of like a splash page, and then it could go into that next page. So you could actually, it could open up to the video doing that, disintegrating 10, 15 seconds tops, and then it automatically goes into your next page. That alone, with maybe like a simple closing one sentence statement, would really be compelling. It would engage me deeper, and I would start exploring more and more. And that to me is a weakness in the way that your website is presenting your work. So you're sending people from your Instagram to your website, or you're when you're emailing, a lot of times, you know, when you're getting a volume of email, you might, you know, there has to be something that entices you. But if I go to click and I'm not interested in within 10 to 15 seconds, like I'm not engaging it, then I probably won't go that much further. So that you have to think about this as if it's like selling perfume, or, you know, some sort of fine, like clothing or something like that. A lot of you engage with it because the story is compelling. And so you're in a pattern right now where you're showing an image, maybe a second image, then maybe a video, and then you're telling us what it's about. And if you give me an entry point from the beginning, I think it's going to be a lot more powerful. I like when I see these, like the sand prints, when I see that dissolving, you know, that to me is very engaging. So I think because you're dealing with ephemeral and time-based concepts here, you have to show that from the very beginning as well. And I think that you need to start thinking about your Instagram more as a stage. So if you're like the first image you have on your Instagram is really quite beautiful, the printing on MSG. But Instagram allows you to, when you're using it from your phone, will allow you to put 3 or 4 objects, or even more, I think up to 10. You know, start using the slide feature on it and showing the disintegration of the image in the slideshow, and start using the video as well. So
I understand that. So if I go to,
so go to your Instagram page. Here, actually, I'm so sorry. I could just do it I can share it with you. I'm so silly. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Let me share my screen. Where are we? Right there. Okay, so this image right here, what I don't get from your Instagram is is that it's time-based media. Like I can read this and say, oh, print on MSG, okay, this is interesting. This is a beautiful image. It's a gorgeous image, but I don't like go to the next image. Like there's no, here, I'll show you. This is not the best example, but at least it'll give you something to, so like here, there's a slideshow of images. Now, what I'm asking you to imagine is that your first image, maybe your first image is the video, and then the second image is, and third and fourth and fifth are just the static images so that I can experience it. And then I know that you've said it before, and so I know you're not like focused on sales as like the final outcome. However, the thing a gallery is going to need to see, because the only way a gallery can exist is if they can sell something, is they need to see that symbolically in your thing. So when you post a video and then you post the slideshow of it deteriorating, the information in the slideshow should say available as a print in such and such size, limited edition, blah, blah, blah. Because they need to see that relationship between the commerce and the creative needs to be clear and explicit, because they have to be able to sell that too. So if they think that something is ephemeral and it's not going to be sellable, they may be engaged in the concept of it. And that's why I asked you about, okay, is this performative? Because, and then performance has a shelf life, because it's only exists at one time. And then you see artifacts, and artifacts are sellable. So you have to create that relationship. And you need to be explicit with that, so that they experience you from that perspective from the beginning. Particularly now with the way things are going, people aren't going to they're not going to put a show up because they're aesthetically driven by your work if they don't think they can't sell it. Like they're still going to need to be able to pay rent. So they want to know that the artist that they're working with is going to meet them halfway in that. Obviously the creativity and the aesthetics and everything are super, super important, and the most important thing, because you don't have anything if you don't have that. You might as well be selling, Mickey Mouse screen prints or something, but that in particular is the one thing that I'm noticing about your work. You got to tell the story from your homepage, and because you have these videos, your video should always be the lead for each of those different projects that you're working on. Like let them experience the video from the moment, huh?
The videos, you think that should be the first one?
Yeah, because if I see it disintegrating, I'm already engaged. People engage with video much more rapidly than a static image. And that will make me want to go on to the next things too. So you have to change that orientation just a little bit, because that engages me and makes me want to hear the story.
Did you have a chance to read that statement?
Which one?
Do you think I should, on the second page of the COVID data?
Okay, let's see. Let me see
So
here.
do you think that's too big or too large?
Well, I'm getting the impression that there's more. Is there more there? Oh no. Okay, because I
have to click on it.
I'm clicking on it, but it's, oh, I see. Okay. That's a little
Too much?
well. Here, let me show you my experience of it. Here it is. Okay, so there we go. First of all, there's like a couple of differences in the density of the type. See how it's dark here and it gets light here, and then it's dark again. It gives the impression that I have to make a longer commitment to understanding this. So I'm always a little bit cautious about this in this kind of format because it's short attention span theater. So if you lead with a shorter, like a shortened statement, and then you can give the option to go deeper. So if it's just something about this size right here, and then you would want to put a seed where it says read more, or and then you need to give the flexibility to actually see. I'm using the expand feature because it's also small. So and then it starts to pixelate as I get closer. So see how fuzzy it gets just when I'm making it to a size just for readability, and it gets really fuzzy. So you want to make sure, give them a small entry point. They're all unstable ephemeral surfaces. And then it's like in a magazine where it said, where it tells you continue reading or something, and you go to a different page, and then you can have them click on it, and it either launches like a page above that has the text, but it can't be an image because this image is pixelating and it's making it a little bit fuzzy to read. Every little barrier that you put in there is going to affect the outcome. So you want people to be able to get a sense of something quickly, but you don't want to challenge them to make them have to go in and be like, okay, all are intrinsically tied to the meaning of the work. I think the overall statement is good, but it shouldn't be placed as an image. So yeah. Empty space to evoke the sense of affinity. That's a beautiful quote, by the way. And so I can imagine seeing the video of the piece disintegrating, and then it goes to a white, and then I see this quote, and then I go into the next thing. So I'm not saying disconnect the writing from the image at all. When I evaluate this and I look at it, I'm like, oh, I'm really interested in seeing that at the end of the thing, at the end of your video. But this is really, I think the issue that you're dealing with at the moment is really about the clarity. It's like opening a book, and you want to be engaged from the beginning of the book, or you open a magazine. A magazine's a really good way to think about it because you're dealing with a shorter attention span when you're proposing to galleries. Like they really want to be able to evaluate you very quickly in 1 to 2 minutes and see what it is you're doing and stay engaged for that 1 to 2 minutes. Sometimes they'll go much longer, but it will trigger a conversation. So you're going to have to look at your website and think about how this is being presented. That's a lot of, and it's a lot of work to do this. It's not the easiest thing to do. I mean, like my personal studio website is not produced that way at all. It's really a journal. It's my art journal. It doesn't, and it's on my list of things that I really need to do. But it's also why the project that I've been working on for the last 2 years, it's why I'm producing a book. Because if I think about it as a book, and I know that it has to be engaging that way, that's easier to translate to a web page because I've already organized my story. So right now you have projects and documentation of projects, but you got to think about engagement, leading with video, and then, and I think that's the same in your Instagram. Like a lot of times in Instagram, all right, so let's go back.
So I guess when I started my Instagram, it was more like for personal use than art, which as you can tell. So I believe should I just remove some of the personal thing on it?
Well, I don't think you need to remove. What I think you need to do is start being more methodical about the way that you present your Instagram. So like a lot of people will post in threes because of the row. So they think about it as a 3-frame story that they're telling. And like these kind of images, like the MSG, are really good for Instagram stories. So I always think of the stories as the sort of the more engaging, like I could record a video, I could say, oh, look what I'm experimenting with over here. And then this is the gallery. This is like the space, this is the showroom, you know? So you want to be more considerate about that and think of it as curating a show. So even sometimes I'll do an exercise where I'll curate like a 1-week show and I'll expose the show. I haven't done this in a while. I should do it again. I like doing this because it builds, and I reference it in the text. I say, this is a 7-day show with 1 image every 12 hours or something. And so I tell a story, and I've noticed that when I pay attention to curating the stream in that way, I end up with more likes and followers coming from it. And that is important because galleries want you to demonstrate that you have an audience as well. So it takes a long time and you have to build. So like in the Existimo show, it's a pretty wide show and there are artists at different levels. And I've had several conversations with some of the newer artists about this concept of like, you have to represent the gallery and are putting your work out there in a way that entices people to come to us. Like it's a reciprocal relationship, you know? So if you have, like Tom Atwood, he has like, 60,000 followers, and so I love his work and he has 60,000 followers. If I can gain 100 followers from having a show with him, that's potential buyers. That's like collectors and things who are going to come along with him. So yes, I mean, it's a very uncomfortable juxtaposition because it's forcing you to think you have to also think as a marketing person, but you're an artist. So you're telling a story. And right now the story is very personal and it's engaging, but you have to present it in a way that entices people to want to, dig in. And the video is going to be the number one. It's proven over and over again. I mean, just go to any of your favorite artists, and if they have videos implanted in their streams, you can look at the stat on it. An image next to it will get 30 likes. A video will have over 1,000. So you got to start thinking about that, especially because like you're already documenting these things, right? Because they're so ephemeral. You're already documenting the processes and stuff, and it's going to be really important for you to expose that, because that would entice me if I saw that video and you were proposing a show. I mean, I would be interested in showing that here. I mean, I could totally see that working in our space here too, and I could actually imagine, maybe not at this moment because it's private viewings, you can't have like a larger event, but I could actually imagine having an event and that going really, really well. Like I could see people coming for that.
For the mounting pieces? Yeah,
absolutely. Printmaking is a huge culture here in Mexico, and that's very experimental, and I haven't seen anything like that. So you have you have the traditional mixed with the experimental, the performative. I could totally see that going well. Like, I mean, it's not hard to imagine. I think your main issue right now is just directing the story, like really focusing on that story. And it's different than producing the artwork. You're already documenting all those different processes and stuff. But over here where you're telling the story, you got to think, it's like we used to create packages for galleries where we, build this beautiful presentation on paper and, use all these like nice papers and, create an actual presentation that was an experience. Now we do that digitally. And so you have to digitally do that in your website as well as on your Instagram. Facebook is pretty much dead. Don't need to worry about that. Nobody's looking at Facebook anymore. You were the first, by the way, you were the first person to say that you weren't using Facebook. And I was like, oh, okay. And then now Moth, and then now Julio Alaman is joining us as well in the residency. from Monday night, and he doesn't use Facebook at all either. So now I'm like, okay, now I have 3 artists out of 7 or 8. So I'm like, I got to really develop that portion on my website.
I mean, I'm checking it. I'm checking it. I'm just don't checking it for the purposes of what to do list. I'm you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand. It's funny because there are less people on Facebook, and the only reason I'm using Facebook is because they have a built package, so it's very easy to add videos and things like that. I can do that on the website for it, but I haven't had time to go in and build in all the functionality yet. So, but I'm more motivated to do it now because there's now 3 people out of 8 people, and I don't want barriers between. It's the same thing that I'm telling you. You don't want to put barriers between you and your audience. So you have to tell an engaging story, and you need to do it from the very moment that they click into it. I meant to ask you, what was the second link I saw on your Instagram profile? It was like a blog spot or something.
Yeah, that's my blog. But I haven't used it recently. So do you want to take a look?
No, I would take it off. Particularly if it's not something that's totally active, but the fact that I can't just click on it like your website below, like you can reference your blog inside of your site, but having 2 different links and not being able to just, especially with cell phones, like you can't copy that on a cell phone. And that's where most people are using Instagram. So it's not.
I don't know how to use it from computer. I don't think I can post images from computer.
Oh, you can. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah. Oh,
are you on a Mac or a PC?
Mac.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. So let me see here.
Oh, that would be life-changing because it's always on my phone
Yeah. Well, I'll show you 2 different ways to do this. Let me share my screen with you. So I'm in there.
And if you have a chance, could you please send me some websites what you think works, just for me to see what are just compare and maybe start from somewhere.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, now that I know too, as I start seeing things, I'm going to start sending them to you as well. So, okay, so I'm looking at Instagram on a Safari web browser. Normally, like, because I have 2 different accounts. I have my studio and I have the residency gallery. I do the residency gallery only on Safari because you can't be logged into 2 different accounts at the same time. It's really annoying in a web page. But if I go up to develop user agent, I can go to iPhone, and what it does is it changes the interface to an iPhone interface. And look, I have a button to actually add a post.
Okay. How did you do that again?
Yeah, I'll show you again. Okay. I'm recording this, so I'll share this with you after we're done. Okay.
Okay, I'm recording.
So in the top menu, I go to develop and user agent, and this is basically for like application programmers and things. But basically, it turns my interface into an iPhone. And that's how I get this button. The only difference here is I can only add 1 image at a time. I can't add 2 or 3 images. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, so that you still have to do from a phone, which is that's a hassle. And you can't add a video from here, which is also really frustrating.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's just not because they branded themselves as an application. Instagram has resisted web-based things. The other thing I can show you is, let me pull this up. I'll get you share that screen. I paid for this before, and now I'm using the free version because it's too expensive for me. This is Hootsuite. And what it does is it allows me to schedule my posts. So, and the free version is fine because the paid version allows you to have 20 social media accounts. I think this is limited to 3 or something. But I do all my posting for personal, and you can see I have my Instagram, my LinkedIn, and my Facebook page. And one click, it's all going to the same page. I type my stuff in here, I attach an image, and I set a schedule. And I could do up to 30 posts scheduled in advance. So if I'm doing one a day, that's a whole month. If I'm doing like 3 a day, that's at least a week of posts, like out of the way. I don't even have to think about it for a week. And so you'll notice when you look at my Instagram, it's fairly well thought out. I very rarely, I'll very rarely, I very rarely veer from, can I refresh this? Yeah, it doesn't even automatically refresh, which I think is the most annoying thing. But you'll see there's a methodic way that I'm doing this. I'm telling us.
How do you do the middle image, like with the grid?
I'm using an app. I'll send you a screenshot of the app, and it only works on the phone, and and it goes into my photo library, and it gives you options to grid images, and then you post them directly from the app. So it's I found this very useful because again, I'm telling a story. Before, when I didn't show some of my process, people didn't understand what it was I was doing. So you could see I'm presenting a gallery show. I'm selling the work as a story. And I think this is a very important way to think about your Instagram feed. There's nothing personal in here. This is all about the work. I have a personal account, and if you look at my story, like you'll see photos of my dog, or you'll see me like working. Sometimes I do Instagram live. If I were you and I would like turn a phone, do the Instagram live when I'm doing a printing session or something, and let people into the experience of it. Where's that? It hasn't been that long since I posted a video, is it? I can't believe. I could have sworn I just posted a video. Okay, because I wanted to demonstrate to you the difference. Okay, 90, 20. Image, video. Yeah. This tells the story of what it is that I'm doing. These videos always get tons more views. And then anything that goes into your Instagram story can become part of these curated areas. So these.
Story before, I never did a live video before, so that's something.
It's not hard to do. The thing I haven't figured out yet is I've seen some people have done like actual, like I do the visiting artist thing, and I've seen people do it on Instagram Live, and I haven't spent the time to try to figure out how that works. But the IGTV, these are all videos of process and stuff. Okay. And these I get much more happening on videos than I do in other places. And mine has been a slow build. I don't expect people to. It just takes a long time. Like a little bit over a year ago, Instagram changed their algorithms, and I was literally getting like 10 to 15 new followers a day. And now if I get 10 new followers a week, that's a miracle. Because I'm not paying. So they changed their model to pay, and it's harder to build an audience, but your work is so interesting and the process of it is so interesting, and you got to tell the story. And if you can get into any group shows, even if they seem minor, even if they're online, every little bit of exposure, if it hits just the one right person, it's going to lead to another thing. Or sometimes it's just about the other artists in the show, and then they connect you with somebody too. So this is where the community aspect comes really important. So, but those are the things.
Yeah, I just feel like there is like a significant missing link in my life, I just got frustrated because 2018 was like really good, and then over.
Yeah, and things have changed since 2018. The model of the way people are looking at things, Instagram has become the central focus. I'm sorry to say, because I never wanted to use Instagram. I've always found it annoying. But I have to say that most sales, most connections, everything, even as a curator, this last show I did Soledad, half those artists were from applications to the call for entry. The other half of them were from Instagram. People that I just, people, and an artist would like something, and then I would go look at their stuff. And then when I'm curating something, I'm thinking, oh, who is that artist? And then I go back through and I find them, and I contact them. And I literally contacted probably at least 100 artists for a 10 artist show, where 5 of them were coming from online, 5 of them came from Instagram, and some of them I just didn't get replies from in a timely manner because of the way it came together. But that's the way. And a lot of people are doing that now. A lot of galleries are doing that now. Some galleries just let things come to them. Because I work with emerging talent a lot, I go out and look for them too, because not everybody is as sophisticated in terms of the way that they're not gonna, and not everybody can afford a $35 application fee for a show.
That's true.
I mean, that's a lot. So I like a little bit more equality in the artists being represented. So I put in extra effort for that, but a lot of galleries won't do that, but they will go check out your Instagram. I guarantee it. So that Instagram has to sing.
So, okay. So
I know it's a lot. Sorry.
No, it's really eye-opening. Thank you so much. I just would like to ask, what would be, your recommendation to change on Instagram? Like, I understand videos, yes. Maybe the layout, yes, but removing the blog, yeah.
No personal stuff in the feed. And put those in your story. So those go to the story side, and then start curating it. And think about, if I looked at your website, what I would do here, and I have to go soon because we have a event starting soon, but let me show you.
Would you recommend me to remove my personal stuff now?
No, I think you could keep it there. You don't want to lose the, if you remove things, you're actually removing all the clicks and things too. And the more clicks you get, the faster you show up in other people's timelines. So whenever you post something, like it right away. I know it seems very self-aggrandizing. Why is my computer's running very slow. Okay, so for instance, this, I would have from this, I would use like 5 or 6 frames just to show the deterioration.
I would do that now. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
I can do that. I have a lot of images like that.
Yeah, I mean, and your website is so rich with content. You could literally go in here and go. I can't get it to go back to the. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to go back to your homepage. You could literally go down the line here and like once a week focus on one project, and let it unfold over several days, and just make a reference in the text, saying this is an experimental online exhibition of a specific project, and it will and let them see it deteriorate. If I looked at a timeline that showed that deterioration, like what you're doing in the videos, I would totally be like on top of that. I would be, that's very exciting to see people use the technology to show me what's actually happening. Static images are fine if you're just a 2-dimensional artist, like just doing a painting or something, but you actually have process built in to your presentation, and you need to show it. So
for example, that 35 stages of melting, do you think it's a good idea to show like 20 stages from that 35?
I think you could show, because it's in 3s, you want to keep it in groupings of 3, so maybe 12.
12, okay.
Yeah, so like every 3rd or 4th frame, so that you get a sense of the disintegration. And then, maybe the last video or the last one is an actual video of it just disintegrating.
And then, for example, using that, like, shall I just post that 12 in the same day?
I found that, because I've done this many times, I found that I lose followers if I post too much in one day because it dominates their feed. So I like the idea of like once every 12 hours, and using Hootsuite, you could schedule it. So you think about it on Monday, you release it, and then it just goes.
Awesome. Okay. Do I have to go?
Well, we're starting lab now is a lab time, so
Okay.
you're welcome to stay in for lab time if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll finish this session. So
Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I hope it's helpful. I mean, if you want to, we can come back around and evaluate again in a couple of weeks to see producing and stuff.
And if you could send me that app for the grid.
Yes, yeah, I will. I've experimented with a lot of them, and I found this one and it was like 99 cents and it works fine. It doesn't have all these other bells and whistles, but for this simple storytelling, it's perfect. I wish there were like a video one where you could divide a video into like 6 frames or something. That would be so cool if you could see the video, like that would be cool, but they don't have it yet.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and that's a lot of work, by the way. It's going to take you a little bit of time to do it. Like if you set a goal for yourself to have all that stuff done by the end of the year, it will take you all that time, especially with your schedule and kids and everything too. Be patient with yourself, but start just by introducing it into your Instagram, and then, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. I see Moth's face, but I don't see a picture of Moth, but I don't see.
I'm here, darling. I'm jostling all of my accoutrement back and forth. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I was just finishing a session with Eszter, so I'm going to run to the restroom really quickly, okay?
As you should. I encourage